11 signs that you are someone who cultivated Buddha practice in many past lives. Have you ever wondered who you were in previous lives? Have you ever felt that the profound teachings on the nature of life and humanity are surprisingly familiar, as if you heard them long ago? Have you ever witnessed the suffering of sentient beings and felt overwhelming compassion, as if you yourself once walked that path? If these experiences resonate with you, perhaps you are not a newcomer to this world, but someone who has traversed countless cycles of rebirth, who has practiced and sought truth across immeasurable time. In this lifetime, those seeds of wisdom may be awakening, reminding you of the journey you once undertook. Below are 11 signs that you may have cultivated practice in many past lives. If you recognize yourself in these signs, this lifetime may be the opportunity to continue your path of insight and follow the course you once led. You sense that mundane life is not everything. In the midst of rushing crowds and daily concerns, you suddenly pause and ask yourself what it all means and what you are truly chasing. Even as you live in the world, you feel it is only a temporary inn, a fleeting dream. Material pleasures come and go, and sorrows are like ripples on a pond. Deep within you lies a feeling that this realm is not your final destination. You easily grasp life's philosophies without formal study. When others hear a profound story or teaching, they may need time to reflect and analyze before understanding its meaning. You, however, seem to awaken instantly to these truths, as if you already knew them and are only now being reminded. A single simple yet profound sentence can illuminate your mind and touch your soul. Teachings on morality and the nature of existence feel ingrained in your being, though you never studied them in books or under a teacher. You possess natural compassion. Some people are born with hearts full of love. When they witness another's suffering, they cannot remain indifferent. When they see an animal in pain, they feel anguish as if it were their own. If you empathize at this level without ever being taught or shaped by circumstances, this may be the mark of a soul that cultivated compassion across many lifetimes. Compassion is not weakness, but a sign of an inner spirit refined by countless reflections on karma, suffering, and impermanence. You cherish solitude and introspection. While many seek noise and endless entertainment, you long for stillness. You do not dislike the world nor shun others, but you feel most at peace when alone in a quiet space, listening to your own breath and thoughts. Such moments do not feel lonely. They feel like a homecoming to your true nature. At times, you may sit for hours simply gazing at the sky, feeling the wind, and observing life flow by without action. When challenges arise, instead of panic or seeking comfort from others, you turn inward and find answers within. This is a clear sign of someone who once lived as a hermit or celestial practitioner, removed from worldly distractions to seek enlightenment. This habit remains deeply ingrained in your consciousness, causing you to constantly crave tranquility even when living amidst the hustle and bustle of the city. The ancients said, "Silence is the language of the universe." Whoever understands silence understands the truth. If you perceive silence not as boredom but as a profound state of happiness, then perhaps you are not a fresh soul. You have walked the path of practice before and tasted the inner peace it brings, and in this life you are gradually rediscovering it. You possess keen intuition and accurate premonitions. There are moments when you cannot explain why you know something beforehand, yet your instincts are almost always right. You can sense a person's energy from the very first meeting, discerning who is sincere and who is deceitful without any evidence. You can anticipate upcoming events, feeling good and evil, right and wrong as if it were inscribed within you. You carry an invisible compass that always guides you. This is not luck or coincidence, but a sign of a consciousness that has been trained across many past lives. You may once have been a profoundly contemplative person who practiced inner reflection for a long time, sharpening your senses beyond the ordinary. Those who have practiced for many lifetimes often develop the wisdom eye, the ability to see through what others do not recognize. You are not easily disturbed, for you perceive falseness even before it appears. You do not need others to speak it aloud, yet you understand what they are hiding. The ancients said, "When the mind is pure, wisdom shines clearly. One not clouded by greed, hatred, and delusion naturally sees all things." If you have a strong intuition and perceive what others cannot easily discern, then perhaps you are not a novice soul in this life. You have walked the path of practice and trained your mind through many past lives, and those imprints remain deeply etched within you. Have you ever felt this way? You are not overly entangled with money or fame. In a world where many spend their lives chasing wealth, status, and power, you think very differently. You understand that money is important, but not everything. You may earn money to live, but you are not bound by it, nor would you exchange your ethics or inner peace to gain it. You are not attracted to empty prestige. When you see others vying for status and craving power, You simply smile and ask yourself, in the end, what do they really gain? You realize that everything in life is impermanent. Today may bring glory, but tomorrow it could turn to dust. This is a sign of someone who has practiced across many past lives. Those who have walked the spiritual path often have a broader perspective on life. They know that wealth will fade and fame will vanish. Only the soul and the mind truly matter. The ancients once said, "A person who chases fame and profit is like chasing a shadow. The more they run, the farther it retreats. A person who lets go of fame and profit is like the moon reflected in still water. It appears naturally." You are neither lazy nor unambitious, but you always have clear boundaries. You work out of responsibility, joy, and for life itself, but you never let money or fame control your soul. If you think this way, you most likely practiced and reflected on the transience of material things, and in this life you still carry that insight. You possess extraordinary patience and compassion in life. Many people become angry easily or are hurt by others' words or actions, but you are different. You rarely lose your temper or engage in arguments. When faced with adversity, you often choose patience rather than confrontation. You understand that everyone has their own circumstances and karmic burdens, that the harm others inflict on you sometimes reflects the pain they themselves carry. Therefore, you do not hold grudges or cling to resentment, but naturally incline toward forgiveness and letting go. This patience is not weakness, but a sign of a soul trained over many lifetimes. You may have once learned that resentment only brings suffering, while forgiveness and compassion pave the way to inner peace. The ancients said, "Be patient for a moment, and the waves will calm and the wind will subside. Step back, and the sea is vast and the sky is high." Your compassion extends not only to loved ones, but also to those who have hurt you. You may feel sadness or pain, but you choose not to seek revenge or cause suffering. You quietly move forward, allowing time and karma to take their course. If you are inclined to be patient, to forgive, and not to cling to others' faults, then perhaps you once practiced in many past lives, and in this life your soul still retains that serenity. You feel a natural affinity for spiritual matters from an early age. You have a special sense of familiarity with things related to spirituality, meditation, reincarnation, and karma. Even without formal teaching, when you hear ancient teachings about enlightenment or invisible worlds, you do not feel alienated. Instead, it is as if you once knew them. You are naturally drawn to Buddhist scriptures, philosophical texts on life, spiritual teachings, or even ancient civilizations and the mysteries of the universe and the soul. When you enter a temple or monastery, you feel a profound sense of peace, as if returning to a place you once belonged. This is no coincidence. According to Buddhist philosophy and the law of rebirth, if you feel a natural connection to spirituality, it means you have walked this path in past lives. Those imprints of practice remain in your consciousness, enabling you to easily accept and internalize these profound life philosophies. The ancients said, "When one hears the way, the heart rejoices. When one sees the Buddha, the eyes shine brightly." That is a sign of someone who has sown the seeds of practice in many past lives. If you always feel that spirituality is not foreign but a natural part of life, then very likely you have practiced in many past lives, and in this lifetime, you are simply continuing that journey. Have you ever felt this way? You prefer a simple and tranquil life. While many chase after luxury, fame, and power, you have a different preference: simplicity. You do not like ostentation or extravagance. You do not follow every trend, nor do you need many possessions to feel happy. For you, a hot cup of tea, a good book, and a quiet morning in a peaceful setting are worth far more than the noisy pleasures of the world. You do not feel deprived when you lack luxuries. On the contrary, you feel a sense of relief from not being bound by too many possessions. You prefer a small house, a simple life, and an unencumbered soul. This is a clear sign of someone who has practiced across many past lives. For those who have walked the spiritual path know that happiness does not come from external material things, but from inner peace. The ancients said, "Simplicity is the pinnacle of wisdom, and tranquility is the highest state of the soul." If you always feel that a simple yet meaningful life is far more important than wealth and luxury, then very likely you were once a practitioner in a past life, and in this lifetime you still carry that quality in your soul. You possess perseverance and endurance in learning the teachings. Many people, when encountering philosophical doctrines or profound life lessons, find them difficult to understand, grow bored quickly, or lack the patience to pursue them. But you are different. Not only are you interested, you are passionately driven to explore the deepest truths. You do not absorb knowledge hastily or superficially. You investigate, ponder, reflect, experiment, and genuinely strive to understand the essence of every matter. When you hear a moral lesson or profound philosophy, you do not merely accept it as theory. You seek to apply it to life and verify it through real experience. Your path of learning does not stop at theory. You refuse to believe blindly whatever is taught. You want to see with your own eyes, touch with your own hands, and feel with your own heart. For you, philosophy is not merely beautiful words, but a guiding principle for living. You not only read books, but also contemplate every sentence, ask questions, relate the teachings to your own life, and sometimes even endure suffering yourself to test the truth. You understand that the path to wisdom has no shortcut. It requires patience, experience, and continuous practice, and you are willing to devote your lifetime to learning. You know that each day you understand a little more is another day your soul grows. Those who can persist in the pursuit of philosophical, spiritual, and life truths are not new souls. Perhaps in past lives you were a monk, a seeker who spent many years in meditation, studying scriptures, and reflecting on life. These habits do not vanish but continue. In this life, they urge you to carry on the journey of learning and discovery. The ancients said, "Wisdom does not come from hearing once, but from a lifetime of contemplation." Therefore, if you are someone who is steadfast and persistent, unafraid of hardship and seeking the truth, if you constantly yearn to understand more deeply the world, yourself, karma, and spirituality, then perhaps you were a practitioner in many past lives, and in this lifetime you continue the journey. Do you recognize yourself in this? Have you ever had strange dreams of past lives? Have you dreamed of an unknown hiding place that felt remarkably familiar upon waking? Have you seen yourself wearing a monk's robe, living in a temple or monastery, or some tranquil place you've never visited in this life? Have you dreamed of people you have never met yet felt an uncanny closeness, as if they had been part of your past? If you have experienced such dreams, they may not be ordinary but memories from past lives resurfacing. Dreams are the doorway linking lifetimes. From the Buddhist perspective, in many spiritual traditions, humans do not have a single lifetime but undergo countless cycles of rebirth. Upon reincarnation, most memories of past lives fade, but fragments may linger in the subconscious. Sometimes they emerge as fleeting images or vague narratives in dreams that evoke a strange sense of familiarity. Those who have practiced in many past lives may dream of temple halls, monastery grounds, or rituals they have never studied in this life. They may encounter teachers, mentors, or fellow practitioners who, upon waking, still evoke feelings of respect and intimacy, feelings akin to entering deep meditation or a state of transcendence. These dreams do not arise from imagination but may be the traces of ancient memories stored within your consciousness. They appear to remind you that you once walked the path of practice, sought the truth, and that in this life you are still on that journey. Why do these dreams occur? Those who have practiced through many lifetimes often have a strong karmic bond with the spiritual path. Therefore, when they encounter something in this life, such as a temple, a sutra, or a Buddha statue, their subconscious may begin unlocking old memories, and these dreams arise to awaken their recollection. The ancients said, "Nothing in this life is truly the first time, but only a continuation of what has happened before." If you have such dreams, you may not be a new soul, but one who has traversed many lifetimes of practice, meditation, and the search for enlightenment, and in this life, those imprints are returning to remind you of the path you once traveled. But whether or not you have practiced before, the most important thing is the present, for each moment in this life is an opportunity to continue perfecting yourself, sow seeds of goodness, and seek peace and wisdom. The ancients also said, "A practitioner need not know how far they have come, only that every day they move toward the light." If you perceive these signs within your soul, perhaps it is a reminder that in this life you have a path to continue toward peace, wisdom, and liberation. Do you see yourself on that journey?